Oh, Ang bilis naman. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Barely I can hear you.
Hi everyone!
Hey, Burley. Kamusta?
Kumusta?
Ayos lang. Ikaw? How are you? Guys,
I'm so excited. Oh,
tingnan naman guys kung gaano kaganda yung co-host ko for tonight.
tingnan din
Nakakahiya
natin
naman.
kung gaano kang pogi din na si
Ay,
Archie
yun,
Tolentino
buti na
tonight.
gets mo yung buti na gets mo. Si Burley sobrang handang-handa. Grabe ako. Ginawa ko na nag-toothbrush lang ako. Anyways, good evening guys. Welcome to another episode of Archie Hustle. Pero this time, it's a special episode, Burley.
It's our very first episode of Arktoberfest for this year.
Yes, Oktoberfest 2021 opens tonight with this first guest of ours. Pero bago yan, we'd like to acknowledge muna yung ating mga nagko-comment na nanonood. Ilan na ba nanonood? Naku, 2.9 million na yung nanonood sa ating Burley. 2.9
Oh my
million.
God, nakakahiya.
Pero yes, yan, no, yan si Chris Aquino, ating past president. Hello, Chris Aquino.
Hi!
Yeah. Oh,
Oy,
IPP Architect Bench
Vice
and
President
Victorious.
ulit.
Oo. Yan, si Roberto Galion. Shoutout sa iyo, nanonood from YouTube. Sa YouTube siya
Hello,
nanonood.
hello.
Hey. Good evening. Eloy.
Oy, our treasurer, our chapter
Oo,
treasurer.
ating treasure ng kaperahan. Nanonood sa Facebook. From our Facebook website. Siyempre, ang ating past president, si Baste, nakasama natin ngayon.
Siya ka, our tech team tonight.
Our tech team tonight, di ba? Nandito na siya, pwede na siya mag-chat, pero nag-ano pa siya sa Facebook, di ba? Ayan, si Ma'am Ruth Juan Bernardo. Good evening po, Ma'am. Thank you for joining us this Friday night. I hope you join us until the end of the show. We have a very special guest for tonight. Burley,
Yes.
grabe. Third year na ng Arktoberfest para ang bilis ng panahon. Hey, Sir Nick! Oh, si Sir Nick.
It's actually
Sir
my
Nick?
first year joining Arktoberfest. So I'm quite
Yes.
excited.
And ano ba, naging guest ka ba namin Arktober? Hindi. Naging
No.
guest ka namin ng Archie Hustle before.
Yes.
Pero tino
And-
naman yun, nag-host na.
Nag-host.
Hindi ko alam kung upgrade yan or
Full circle.
hindi ko alam kung upgrade or downgrade. Pero sino pa ba? Yan, it's good to have everyone here on our stream. Thank you for joining us. Please like, comment, share our links sa mga interested na makinig sa ating speaker for tonight, which is simpleng tao lang naman. Mamaya natin siya introduce. Pero syempre, with this first episode of Arktoberfest through Archie Hustle, let us welcome to the stream the chairman for the Arktoberfest event this year. Diba? Ayun, pumasok bigla.
Parang hindi na sanay si Baste gumamit ng StreamYard ngayon. Hindi na nakasanay.
Oo
Ayan.
si Adrian Tampolino in the house. Yes.
Yes. Hi guys.
Yan.
Kamusta? Ayan, paano ba? Okay. To our chapter members and of course our guests from all over the world, welcome to the Archie Hustle in Arktoberfest, our first episode of Archie Hustle in Arktoberfest. And of course, I welcome you to Arktoberfest 2021 on its third year. Before, iniisip lang namin sa gitna ng Intramuros, what if we have an event like Anthology that time na napakainit. Then, kasabay ng init na yon, ayun, now we are drinking our cold beers. Hopefully, I have one, yes. And then, of course, guys, it is an exciting year because we will be hearing a lot of there are speakers from all over the world who will be sharing their knowledge in terms of built environment, startups, data, ano pa ba, smart city, of course, sustainability, and experiential design. Yes, and 5 out of 8 speakers are from outside the Philippines.
Yep.
Wow.
And ayun, I'm very excited because the board has worked hard for this one, and
Mm.
by far na-break namin yung record from last year.
Yes.
Grabe. Grabe yon.
Yes.
And then yeah, thank you very much to of course to my fellow board members, and of course thank you very much for those who attended tonight, and those who will be attending for the rest of the month. Ayun, I think ayun lang, and hopefully you enjoy the experience of Arktoberfest, and it is best experience with an ice cold beer. Ayan, thank you very
Yes.
much.
Yes. Thank you, Tamps.
Thank
Yan.
you,
Ooh, our chair
Thanos,
for this event.
Mr.
Yes.
Sa mga
Now I
Chair.
bring you back to your hosts Archie and Burley. Ayan,
para
see you
magpapaalam,
next week, guys. See you next week.
magpapaalam ka na, Tamps, ha?
Oh,
Parang ano,
Hindi
ayaw mo na.
naman.
Hindi.
Nasa likod lang
Pero,
ako, gumagawa lang ako ng ano.
yan.
Ayan.
Pero to
Hello din kay
everyone,
Architect MGX.
sino yan?
Yes.
Sino si MGX? Ayan, oh. Hi, MGX.
Hindi ko sure eh. MGX daw
Yan.
eh. Oh.
Sa mga,
yeah.
those who joined us last year, kilala nyo naman si Tamps. Tamps has been the host din of a few interviews last year. Diba? Nagsasawa na nga siguro sa mukha natin to. Tamps, kaya natin si Burley na. Si Burley na iwanan ko dito eh. No? May fresh face tayo. Medyo the fresh face tayo. Pero, yan, oy, ang ganda naman nung na good evening na yan. Oh, grabe. Medyo yan. Type ko yan. Hindi.
For those who don't know, yan yung asawa ni Archie.
Yan. Siyempre, hatak na tayo ng fans. Wala masyadong fans. Pero yun, as Tamps nga has said, this event has grown through the 3 years that it's been running. And we have been surprised by who we are reaching, who we are able to invite as guests. And tonight's mamaya pa yung guests. Ayaw sumama ni Mami. Pero our tonight's guest is no exemption.
Actually, I cannot believe that he said yes.
Exactly.
I cannot believe that he said yes, di ba? Exactly. At thank you na rin din syempre sa friend ko na si Architect Jet, di ba?
Yes.
I cannot believe that they said yes.
Yes, maraming salamat for
making. Siyempre malakas din tayo kay Sir Nick eh.
Oo nga.
Malakas din tayo kay Sir Nick yan. Anyway, guys, I will give you the screen na. Okay. Pakilala niyo na si
See you in a bit.
See you in a bit. Dito lang ako sa likod.
Oh my God, Burley. Paano ba natin
gagawin? Thanks, for your welcoming words to our viewers tonight. So,
medyo napa-formal si Tamps, no?
Kanina naka-t-shirt lang eh.
Because it's really meant to be, Well, anyways, before we introduce our guest, Burley, we would like to just give a little bit of a background of what Oktoberfest is. So, from the event of Oktoberfest, which is beer festivals in Germany, that's where we got the inspiration for Oktoberfest. So, sabi nga ni Tamps, it was one afternoon while attending Anthology Fest that we thought of doing something similar. Pero yung Anthology kasi it's more parang younger, mga students, ganyan. Ito, it's more for mga professionals na pwede nang uminom, and creating an atmosphere where ideas can flow like beer. Free-flowing discussion without inhibitions. Kaya with a little bit of help of beer, pero basically it's a free-flow discussion between fellows, between friends. Na anything goes. Diba? Walang pikunan. Any idea is not just throw it around. And we've been doing this for 3 years. The first year, we did it in the UAP HQ. It was a Balangkasan event. Yes, it was successful. It was a CPD event. And then after that, we had an open bar sa baba, sa Tony's Bar and Grill sa baba ng UAP HQ. So open bar with band, ganyan. So yung mga medyo respetadong UAP officers, di na ako magpapangalan. Sumama that night. Well, behind all these, our jobs are very serious naman. Pero don't forget to have a little fun and blow some steam off. Diba? So that's where it started. This is where we are now. And tonight, our guest for tonight, Burley. Sino nga ba ang ating guest for tonight?
And
Let me give the floor to
okay,
Burley to introduce our guest.
so again, first in our roster of speakers for Arktoberfest, I am honored to introduce this architect who has more than 30 years of experience in our progressive practice with his award winning, globally recognized firm. He is the founder, president, and CEO of Aidea Inc., a global integrated design and technology practice with over 800 projects in 90 cities in 60 countries across 5 continents. They ranked 39th in the 2021 World Architecture 100 report. Haba naman, no? Daming recognition.
Kailangan ng beer
Okay,
para medyo
oh,
fluent yung ano.
marami pa. So, they also have received recognition in the Philippine Property Awards, East Asia Property Awards, and International Property Awards. And they are also recognized as one of the top 10 architects by BCI Asia.
Top 10.
Additionally, siya mismo, he is an
Mm.
Ernst and Young Innovation Entrepreneur Awardee and has also received awards for the Philippine Professional Regulation Commission's Outstanding Professional of the Year Award and the National Commission for Culture and Arts Award. We are very proud to welcome the first guest for this year's Arktoberfest. Raise your glasses for architect Abelardo JOJO Tolentino. Yay!
Hi, good evening,
Welcome!
everyone, and it's my pleasure to be here. I feel
Evening,
young when
sir.
I'm with young architects.
Of course, sir.
Oh, you're young pa.
Yes, and it's also good to be in learning sessions like this. I was telling the group kanina before the event that we're here not just to no, not to talk, but to learn from each other, and that's important because that's how our industry should grow,
Yes.
diba? And should progress. Is when we start sharing and learning from each other. So for
Yes.
today, I have a suggestion. Number one, let's make this very casual and informal. It's like chatting with each other. If you have any comments, questions, inputs, please feel free to. Uh, I don't know how. Can you raise your hand here in this platform, or please feel free to give inputs because I
If they
think it will
comment,
be
sir,
good.
if they
Yeah.
comment, we'll pull the comment up
Yes,
para mabasa natin lahat.
or post a chat. Pero the key here is for us to learn from each other.
Yes, sir.
And in the end, all of us come out better. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I have a simple presentation, and it's really to it's a means for me to create a discussion point. And as I mentioned, this is supposed to be an exchange of ideas. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So my name is Jojo. As mentioned, I've been in the practice for 30 years, or 30 plus years. A bit of a background about myself. I graduated in 1987 in UST and had the opportunity to work overseas for 9 years, returned to the Philippines in 98. And after 5 years, went on my own. So we started as a small firm. I went through those yung typical story ng business where we struggled for many years before the firm stabilized. And fortunately, our clients and our people stayed with us. And we now have plus or minus 270 people in 2 locations, the biggest being in Makati. And we also have an office in Clark. So part of what we believe as a firm is that we don't see ourselves just as a design firm. We like technology from the start. We had a leaning towards applying technology in our work, and that became one of the competitive advantages of the firm. So that's how we became more efficient in doing our work. We're able to also penetrate some markets globally to a point now we spun off a technology business. And that's the business that we have in Clark.
Oh, wow.
We also have a subsidiary in Denmark that develops virtual reality applications. And we believe that the future of the industry is that it's still design, but it's design that's driven by technology. So that's why we're passionate about this, and we see this as the future. And we also see that Filipino architects have that potential to
Mhm.
become both design and technology savvy.
Mhm.
Yun. So,
Mhm.
magaling tayo doon, di ba? If you
Oo,
notice,
sir.
estudyante pa lang tayo. We grasp technology quickly.
Mhm.
You go abroad, many of our colleagues are very good in design and technology, and that's what we're known for. And we can, I believe, if we do this right, that will become an advantage of our local industry. So I'll share my screen now.
Yes, sir.
Uh, let me. Okay.
Grabe yung intro. Hindi pala bigat. Hindi, simple lang pala yung guest natin, Burley, ngayon.
Oh, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Very
sige.
good.
So I thought this is an interesting topic kasi because of what we went through in the pandemic, the struggles that we as an industry had to face, to cope with the realities of lockdowns,
Mhm.
of still trying to continue to work. I thought that this topic of disruption and digital transformation in the building industry is quite relevant. I'm sure many of us were caught flat-footed when the pandemic came, uh, primarily because we were not set up technologically to work virtually, continue to work while we stayed at home, and no, yung we can see, we saw how that affected practices and
Mhm.
how our delivery process also went down. And
Mhm.
so, ang belief ngayon ng industry is that every business, regardless of what kind of business you're in, to survive post-pandemic, you have to think of how you digitally transform your business. And it
Mhm.
doesn't matter what scale, what size. Digital transformation in the past was an option. Now it's imperative for business survival. There is an interesting book I saw. I finished reading siguro 3 months ago. And if you have time, go over it. Its title is Post Corona, and it was written by a business lecturer called Scott Galloway. Marami siyang sinabi na conclusions dito, no? Number one, he said the amount of digital transformation that happened in the last 1.5 years is equivalent to 10 years of technology progress pre-pandemic. So that's quite important. Na the speed of transformation because of Corona pushed us to compress in less than 2 years what we should have done in 10 years. So it resulted in accelerated change. But he said that it's not all that bad. In every crisis, ang sinasabi niya, there are opportunities. And if we adapt as an industry, we can find opportunities in what seemingly is a crisis situation, like the pandemic. Then you probably have heard of the fourth industrial revolution that is happening now in the global economy. Just to go back to history, in 1700s, di ba, na-discover yung steam, and that started the first industrial revolution. Then electricity was discovered in the 1800s, and that triggered the second industrial revolution. And then in the late 1900s, computing. And now we're in that fourth stage of the revolution, which is what now people term as connectivity and wireless connectivity. The fourth industrial revolution has started, and it is very different from the other technologies or the other shifts that we have seen. And it now deals with things like artificial intelligence, robotics, Internet of Things, to something relevant to us, 3D printing, even outside of the building industry, genetic engineering, quantum computing, and other technologies that we are seeing for the first time. When we map our industry specific, we started with printing, and then my time was the analog, the time when we translated the information to analog. And then in the 1900s, CAD came, and then somewhere in between CAD and in the 1900s and the early 2000s, the realm of virtual design and construction, and probably heard of the term building information modeling came. And the future today onwards is really different now. Hindi lang BIM and VDC and 3D information. It now deals with coding and programming and writing algorithms. In the past, it is a specialty, but in the very near future, they have, having the ability to code and to write algorithms, even for architects, will become mainstream. And it is important that we use this as a tool for us to deliver our services in design, documentation, even when we run projects on site. And the new technology now deals a lot with data. In your day-to-day lives, you deal with Facebook, that deals with, diba? That's all about data and data collection and analyzing data to see, what is relevant to a particular client or particular user. Every business now is shifting into a data business. And architecture is no exception. And they say that data is now the new oil of the economy. What was oil equivalent, how oil was in the 1900s is what data is today. Data is something that we have to take on seriously, because data is not just about statistics now. It's something that can be processed and can be converted into a tool for us to deliver better services. And as I mentioned before, earlier, every business now is shifting into a data-related business. If you look at the building's life cycle, in the past, it is a very disconnected process where data is not efficiently transferred from the time we do the feasibility stage to the time we design, we build, we operate, and the time that we demolish and redevelop a particular site or a particular project. Madalas nating napapansin na when we try to operate the building, there's very little data available on how it was built. And that's a worldwide problem. Nobody knows where the blueprints are. And nobody can guarantee that those information are current. And same thing with when you build, there's data loss between design and building. Diba? And that translates to a lot of inefficiency and wasted use of information. So can you relate to that? In your practices, do you agree that there is a disconnect in the way we transfer data from one phase of a project to the next? Is that something that you face in your practices, or is that something that you experience?
Birdie,
Any
you want to answer?
input? Yeah, please.
You want to answer, Birdie? Pearl. Na-shock na.
I think there's absolutely a disconnect with how, let's say, design, then operate, then demolish. Parang hindi sila in sync as to as to how we should think now that from feasibility pa lang, we have to think about how it should operate and be demolished or be sustainable in the future. Is that where is am I on the right page?
Yeah, yeah. And also, to your point, di ba, merong learning sa operations that is
Oo.
not transmitted to design. So we can design better and not commit the same mistakes.
Yep.
And that tells us na there's a lot of data that is either lost or not properly used. And to me, that results in inefficiency and waste. And that's a situation that is recognized worldwide. Uh,
Agree.
Madalas na nagiging problema namin, kunyari, when we want to renovate a particular space, the first thing we ask the owners, where's your as-built? And
Wala.
Yeah.
yeah, it will take 2 weeks to find blueprints. And then when we ask, is this the latest set of blueprints or the as-builts? No one knows, di ba?
Yep.
No, ano yung, and then you look at the components or kunyari, you look at a particular door of a building. Okay, ano bang door nilagay dyan? There's no information. It just, and to me, that is a problem, but at the same time, an opportunity for all of us. So what I thought of doing is compile 10 we believe are technology trends in the building industry that all of us as architects or practitioners in the building industry should be familiar with and even apply in our practices, regardless of whether we design, we construct, we operate, or we demolish, because we're all stakeholders in the building industry. Number one, number 10 in my list, because it's a countdown, is the knowledge of virtual design and construction, VDC. And this is a general term that includes a more common term called building information modeling. Who is not familiar with building information modeling? Or any question on what it is? Familiar ba tayo? Di ba you probably heard of
Familiar.
Revit or
Familiar.
ArchiCAD? Yes.
Oo.
Yeah. So hindi ba when we shifted from 2D to 3D technology, AutoCAD to Revit, for example, to cite particular technologies, what we're seeing is that the way we present information is no longer in 2 dimension, it's in 3 dimension, diba? And that is important because what we're really doing is we're prototyping projects and buildings before it gets built.
Yep.
But ang importante rin to realize is that BIM is not just a 3D tool, but it is also a tool where we can store information about a particular project. And this is information that we can use during design, construction, and operations. And we believe that building information modeling will become mainstream in the very near future. And so 2D technology will be obsolete. And then every information that will be used in the building industry will be 3D and building information based. Now, what's the difference between building information and virtual design and construction? BIM is just the technology. Virtual design and construction is the principle on how we apply 3D technology from the start to the end of the project. From the time we conceptualize to the time we construct and up to the time we maintain and operate the building. And maybe we can devote another lesson in the future on the details of that. Pero that's the main difference. VDC is the umbrella concept. BIM is a technology that drives it. And so that's number one. Any question before we move to the next?
I'm good, sir.
Number 9 is automation. As you know, there are parts of our work that are repetitive in nature. that we apply in each and every project we do. And now with data and technology, we have the ability to create programs and add-ons that can automate process and take out those repetitive tasks, and also enabling us to devote more time on the higher value work that we do, which is design.
Mm-hmm.
So in our work, for example, this is an automation tool we created in the office, and this automation tool from a detailed BIM model creates the detailing package of a particular
Wow.
project.
Whoa.
So if you can see here, and yung
Shoot.
so that these are the kind of automation tools that are now available, and you can only do this if you understand coding. I don't understand. I don't write codes, but we have a special group in the office who are computer science people who we taught to think like architects, and they are the ones who wrote this together with our architects. So this is what I mean by automation. It's really taking out the repetitive, manual, highly manual, repetitive work so that we can be more productive. We can produce documents, detailing at a fraction of what it used to be. So and devote more time in designing. Any question?
None so far, sir. Oh, wait.
Okay.
I think there's a
Go
few
ahead.
in our chat. If you
Yes.
would you like to take questions or after the presentation?
Yeah, we can take questions siguro on maybe it's better para while we're on the topic.
Oh, medyo ano to, sir, medyo mabigat-bigat. Anyways,
Yeah, go ahead.
from Paste San Sebastian, for companies who are not that tech savvy, how do we make the jump into a practice that can maximize technology and perhaps a practice that can easily adopt the new technology?
Well, I believe that shifting to new technology is easier when you're not big. Kasi it's less disruptive, number one, and you have lesser people to manage, retrain, and retool. So my suggestion is, while we're in this pandemic, that things are relatively slow, and I'm sure everyone has plans to grow, pero at this time, maybe there are not many growth opportunities. This is the time to shift and pivot to a new technology, to a new way of doing things. I know it's expensive, it's not cheap, pero I think that's an investment that's worth doing. Kasi imagine pagka naging busy na tayo lahat, then it's too late for us to move to change because we're so busy doing projects. So take the time, and yung ginawa namin na to, yung automation, for example, we shifted to BIM in 2005. We started our automation team in 2015. So it took us 10 years before we thought of writing our own program. So it takes time, but you have to start somewhere. Yeah. And also the technology now is such that it's easier to code. It's unlike 15 years ago na coding is more tedious. Ngayon, what we're seeing is that it's more intuitive. And as I mentioned, it's something that architects can learn. Yeah. So this is what we're saying, look at coding as a tool for you to solve yung issues related to design and production. This is your new tool to draw and to create.
Tama, sir. So parang go ahead. Go ahead, Dordy. No, go.
I was gonna say, what programs would you recommend for? Syempre, we don't have the budget to create our own code. But what are the programs that you would recommend where we can start? Besides,
my suggestion is that start first with shifting to BIM-based technologies like Revit, ArchiCAD, Bentley, BricsCAD. There
Bentley.
are new players in the market. Uh, s- go there first and yung retool your people and yourself in using this technology and use it to the max before you even go to programming. Kasi you have to be an expert or a power user in this technology before you can explore the or look at ways to automate.
Oo.
Uh,
Tama.
and it doesn't take long. As I said, Filipinos are really good at this, and madali naman siya
Fast
matutunan.
learners.
Yeah,
Fast
exactly.
learners.
Yeah,
Makalikot
just
tayo,
just
makalikot.
having the ability to operate in BIM is already a big advantage kasi
Mhm.
it will cut your production time or your design time. Number one. Second, it also will allow you to. I'll explain a bit later. No, it will
Mm.
also allow you to efficiently work remotely, even with the partners from other countries or other
Tama.
locations.
Agree.
So that's
Agree.
why it's important, di ba? Because you will
Agree.
then have the ability to work efficiently with parties or partners or team members from other
Agree.
countries, other
Tama.
locations.
Tama. So just to add, no. Um
Yes.
yung question kanina about being small and limber, kasi pag small ka, you're quick to change direction kasi there's
Absolutely.
hindi ka big and slow di ba? And then
Yes.
using BIM naman, I personally tried to parang learn BIM on my own, ArchiCAD. And it was
Mhm.
frustrating at first kasi it's a different mindset talaga if you're coming from
Yeah.
AutoCAD. Kasi naman from our situation in our firm is just me and my wife, and then we job out whatever help we need. So I figured parang yung kay Malcolm Gladwell, di ba, yung David and Goliath. Si David ginamit
Yeah,
yung
yeah, yeah, yeah.
technology to beat Goliath parang gano'n So ako pwede to BIM
Yes.
ganyan. Noong una na-enjoy ko kasi pwede mo pang dalhin sa iPad mo, and then all the information is there. Pag nasa site ka, ang ginagawa ko, di view mo yung model, tapos screenshot, tapos draw over it, and then send it directly na. Ang bilis Pero it was really
Exactly.
frustrating for me to
Yeah.
to figure out
Ano mo,
ArchiCAD.
I'll share a bit of yung our experience in transitioning. Kasi when we transitioned to BIM, I think we had about over 40 people.
Yes.
And the way we transitioned to 3D is by force. So I had to be a dictator. And kasi otherwise talaga, you have to force this, and
Yes.
there's no easy way to transition. What we did is one day we trained, of course, but the training was very high level. We learned from mistake. But what we said is on this day, we will take out AutoCAD, and for better for worse, we will adapt BIM.
Mm.
And of course, hindi masaya lahat, di ba?
Yes.
Ang pinaka hindi masaya are the AutoCAD experts. Because of course,
Yes.
understandable naman, di ba? Dahil they are experts in one technology and suddenly yung expertise
Taken
na
away.
yun
Miss out
nawala.
na.
Yeah. So you have to manage that. And truth be told, some people had to decided to leave. And that's one of the things that we need to deal with. But ang conclusion namin is that ang transition is all about mindset. And that's the biggest hurdle in any new introducing anything new. It's managing people's mindset. It's not the hardware or the software kasi cost lang yun di ba?
Yes.
And it's a one-time thing pero convincing people to try and
Hardest.
forget what they know and find a way to make a new this new technology work is the hardest. And so kailangan lang talaga we need a different mindset in transitioning. Otherwise it will not be successful. And it has to be such like what we call a growth mindset na you want to try new things and you want to find better ways of doing a project.
Yes.
And Yeah, we had to deal with in that situation for about 6 months. But after 6 months, it settled, and people realize that there are gains with this transition, and now it's no
Wow.
longer an issue.
6 months.
15, yeah, 15 years down the road, wala na, hindi na issue to. We accepted this as our normal, no, to
Mhm.
us.
So safe to
As I
say,
mentioned,
sir,
it became a competitive advantage of the company.
safe to say there's no AutoCAD programs in your
Wala ano
office.
'yon, bawal na
Con-
bawal 'yon dito.
Converter na lang para AutoCAD. Eh, sir, ito practical question kasi moving to BIM, of course, architects, we're well, I'm sure most architects have tried using BIM.
Mhm.
Pero sometimes the transition is really hard, especially if you're allied professionals, like engineers, are not really, adopting to
Yes,
technologies
yes.
like that. Babalik sa'yo, AutoCAD
Right.
din. So, parang,
Yes.
ay, doble trabaho ko ah. I-BIM ko po ulit yung trabaho nyo. So, was that something of an issue before with you?
Yeah, yeah. Ano kami, we took a different approach. Sabi namin, if we want to succeed here with this new technology, we need to convince our consultants to
Yes.
transition to BIM. And it wasn't easy dahil uh, first of all, they find it expensive. We find the transition expensive. Second, they're so busy. Ang laging
Mm.
sagot sa amin, they're busy using what they have, and why change if it's not broken? Di ba? Yung may mga ganun eh
Yeah.
na
If it
thinking
works, yep.
Yeah, if it works, why fix? Diba?
Why
Parang
bother?
pero kami what we offer them is okay, sige, we want this to we want you to try this technology. For a few projects, we will model for you. We
Okay.
will do the engineering modeling, we'll integrate it with our architectural models, and ang ano lang is spend the time to check what we're doing. And then we also are willing to teach you for free para lang the next
Wow.
time around you can do it yourself. So there were engineers na nag-agree. There are some na ayaw, pero that's just how it is, di ba? Yung
Yep.
change takes time, and we need to invest. And we made that investment. And after a few years, it paid off because many of our partners now are into BIM, and those are our preferred partners. Those who didn't want to play ball, parang had lesser opportunities working with us. And it came to a point na the owner saw the advantages of doing BIM, that they also were willing to pay us to integrate architecture and engineering in BIM.
Oh,
And that
wow.
became another income stream for the company.
Wow.
Yeah, so ano yun eh, it's we you just have to invest, di ba? And then
Tama.
see the opportunities.
Tama. I think taking from what you said, sir, one thing that really struck with me is really the mindset. Somebody has
Yeah,
to put their foot down and say, no, we're not doing this anymore.
yeah,
This is our direction. It's either you are with us or are
yeah,
against us. And then
exactly. Ganon.
let's see.
Well, there's no other way to manage it. And I meet people overseas, when we give talks. And yun ang malaking problema nila na sinasabi nila, they like to transition to BIM, pero their bosses don't do not appreciate the transition. So there's no support
Yeah.
from the top,
Mm-mm.
and they think that BIM is just the responsibility of the CAD manager,
Mm-hmm.
not knowing na it has to be top down. Na for this to work, the mandate has to come from the top.
Mm. Leadership.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Leaders have to believe na this is the right move for the firm.
Hindi ba kayo natakot, sir? Na parang, kasi I'm sure, like back then, it's not talked about in the industry, BIM, or is it?
Actually, hindi personally, because I really felt this is during that time that is the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And there are, di ba, meron minsan sa ano mo sa when you make a decision, you cannot explain it, but you know that that's the right decision, and
Mm-hmm.
that's the and kami naman kasi we also were looking for ways on how we can differentiate the business,
Mm-hmm.
the firm, ano, from competition. Not only here but even abroad, and we saw this in technology as one of the ways. Not the only way, but if we, ang thinking ko noon, if we can be experts in this technology, we can be uh, ahead of the curve, and not only in the local market but even outside of the
International.
country. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
and we saw this as an opening.
Mm.
Yeah,
Mm. Mm. Kaya it shows naman one of the
yeah.
pangilan pa kayo sir this year? 63rd, yeah, I think.
I think
International.
we're 39th.
39.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
39.
Sorry.
yeah,
39
yeah.
pala. Sorry naman. Excuse me, sir. Yeah.
No, no.
So
So yeah.
pero yeah,
So
so it just
related to
shows. Go
yeah.
ahead, sir.
So we, to us, it was really a good move, and
Yeah.
it was painful.
I'm sure.
Yung hindi madali, as I mentioned, anything new is not easy. Pero I think yung pain is relatively short compared to the gains that we have reaped because of the change. Kaya yun. And yung lesson sa amin. And so now we're not fearful of change. Hindi lang naman sa technology, but even the way we structure our organization, the way we explore new things. And I have to say we don't always succeed. But now what we're saying is, if we tried it didn't work, then let's try another one. Di ba?
Mm.
Yung that's re- that's the way you
Tama.
discover things, di ba?
Agree.
You have to
Agree.
try
Agree.
and risk na baka hindi mag-work.
Agree. Agree.
Yeah.
Agree. Yung risk naman din pag hindi ka nagbago is stagnation. Di ba?
Yeah.
Yun yung parating
I mean,
analogy
well,
ni
that's an even bigger risk, di ba?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Sige sir, if you
Yeah.
would
So
like to proceed with
now,
your
number 8 is cloud and mobile-based collaboration. I mentioned about this before na collaboration now happens a lot in the digital space, and we as leaders of the design team, architects being the lead consultant, should have the ability to provide and to host and to manage yung cloud-based collaboration. And it again, we go back to BIM. The important thing to remember is that when we do projects in BIM, and assuming we do things correctly, there should only be one BIM model that exists. Hindi dapat nagdodoble. And that's the only source of information for the whole project team. And that's also where we deposit information so that it's transparent to everyone. And because of technology, it could all be done virtually and using cloud and mobile-based technologies. Number 7, the way we visualize as an industry should also change, and it's now changing. I mentioned we created a partnership in Copenhagen because we think that virtual reality and augmented reality will be the visualization way and the way we visualize in the future, where yung BIM model is rendered in one-to-one scale, and you see it in a fully immersive virtual reality environment, as what you see here. This is, and then from there you can change designs, co-create with the owners, with the different consultants. We have this facility in our office here in Makati. Before the pandemic, we invite people to look at this, including colleagues in the industry, so that you have an idea of how it looks in real life, and maybe when times are better, of course, we'll be happy to entertain and to host everyone, so we can give a demo of how it works. So
Okay.
ano yung
Sige,
advantage?
sir.
Ano yung advantage nito? We with VR and ano yung
AR.
AR technology, you can have information available anytime, and also collaboration can be much faster and much more efficient. And also the way we communicate designs and information to the different stakeholders can be efficient as well. Uh, Number six, 3D printing. Again, because of VDC and BIM, yung information na yon could now be translated in physical prototypes. And we use this a lot in the office. And ang maganda dito sa 3D printing, it's now a very affordable technology. Instead of us cutting foam boards, this is an alternative that can help us visualize projects faster. And in the future, I'm sure the technology will be much more efficient, faster, and cheaper. Something that also all of us should be able to do. Okay, next is artificial intelligence and information. AI is becoming to be a big driver, not only in the financial and marketing and and IT world, but equally important in our practice, because technology can allow us to be more efficient. This is a statistic that we have gathered, which says that uh, 85% of real estate companies have accelerated their transition to digital technologies, and 67% or two-thirds are focusing now on automation and AI as a way for them to improve their process. Maganda sa AI kasi it makes decision making faster. It allows us to analyze faster, gather information so that we can create solutions in a more efficient way, from design to construction to post-construction. Some even in fabrication and
Robotics.
construction, it's
Mhm.
all AI related, and through time yung AI will be the application of AI in our industry will increase. Number four, have you heard of this term digital twinning?
No.
Okay,
What?
digital twinning is also a new technology, a new way of yung looking at projects where you create a digital representation of a project or of a
Mm.
building.
Mm.
In such a way na this is one way of doing digital twins. It's called the point cloud scanner, where a scanner creates billions of dots, as what you
Mm.
see here,
Mm.
and these dots are then converted to BIM models. And once na convert sa BIM model, you put information or what you call metadata. So
Mhm.
at the end of the process, it has all the information that it has to do with the building,
Mhm.
from the kind of wall to the model of the door to the window, so
Even
that
ano,
it becomes like a single, what we call a single source of truth of
Mm.
that particular building. So this addresses a lot of yung current problems. Number one, it addresses the problem of holding the latest information of a project or of a
Mhm.
building, because you can store this in the cloud, and it becomes yung your only source of information in case you need to renovate, or you need to look at a particular space, or look at a particular model, for example, of the genset of the building. All of those are stored in this model. Second, it will allow you to simulate improvements, not only sa architecture but even engineering, because you can tie this with different software or different applications, so that even before you execute a renovation in the building, you already can simulate how it will work, and you create lesser mistakes. And third, it allows you to maintain your building more efficiently because I'll explain later. You can link this to a facilities management digital platform, and it will help you manage and run a project or building during operations uh, in a way that it uses data that is embedded.
Mm-hmm.
Dito sa BIM model. So it's quite interesting. And this is a new trend na everything, there will come a time that all facilities and all buildings in the world will have a digital twin.
Mm-hmm.
And this is yung for storage, for analysis.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you're creating a digital representation of everything.
Tama.
Yeah.
Tama.
And which leads me to what I'm saying, integrated facilities management, because once you're done with the digital twin, you can now link it to another digital platform that will allow you to operate projects and buildings more efficiently. Now, this is a simple graph showing that the comparison in terms of money or cost between design, construction, and operational cost. So if you see here, design is just a drop of the cost of a building.
Nice
And
visualization.
ang pinakamalaki talagang opportunity to save is in operations. Yeah, na if you do not operate your building well, it will amount in the life of a building, it will amount to a lot of money. It's probably like a car that you don't maintain, di ba? Mas mahal mag-consume ng gas,
Yes.
madalas mag-bog down, which you have to spend for repairs. Buildings are the same. Ang problema, cars can be prototyped and can easily be repaired. Buildings are not as flexible.
Mm-hmm.
So, and so there's now a huge emphasis on finding ways on how buildings can operate more efficiently.
Mm-hmm.
And through technology and through the VDC, through VDC
Mm-hmm.
and the different facilities management platforms available,
Mm-hmm.
we now have the ability to analyze, record data, and see how we can find ways of optimizing operational costs.
Mm-hmm.
Hindi ba when we do projects, minsan sabihin ng owner, gusto ko mura lang yung construction kasi nagtitipid ako.
Oh, shit.
Pero minsan, yung murang construction translates to more expensive operations cost, di ba?
Later on.
Later on. So that's the wrong way of saving, di ba? Especially if you're the ones who's going to operate and use the building.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then that's why I think the emphasis, what we're seeing now worldwide is that there's a trend now to focus more on operational cost. Because that's where we realize the biggest savings.
I'm gonna steal that slide, sir.
Yeah. We'll share this, huh?
Oh, sige, sir.
We're happy to. We will share this later. But
I'll steal that.
and also the technologies that are now available that allows us to operate, and these technologies are not really expensive, but it something that all of us should explore as architects.
HVAC.
Because it has an influence in our design. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So other way to look at is when we design, we have to look at how it will be operated. Hindi lang yung maganda, but yung maintenance. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing about maintaining buildings is again, like cars, a well-maintained car retains its value or even appreciates yung value. Yung building na well-maintained also retains and appreciates in value, pero a badly maintained building always yung nagde-depreciate yung niya, di ba?
Yes,
yung
sir.
value ng property. So that's a reality and that's the reason why yung facilities and building management is important. Now, big data is also important. We talked earlier about the importance of data, And this is a statistic that we gathered where 90% of all the data available now were generated in the last 3 years.
Wow.
And yeah, so that's the importance of data, and that's why, and that's how much data has grown. Unfortunately, we're not very efficient, as what we talked earlier, in using data. Even data that we already own, we don't optimize the use of that asset. And again, a recent research in the 10% of companies only use 10% of the data that they have, and less than 1% of the data that they have access to, not necessarily owned by a company, but data na that pwede nilang matap, ano. So which brings us to a point na making use of data, finding ways to use data, will help us in the economy. And data is relevant in the real estate industry. I'm sure in your design practices, clients are now asking us to provide them with data. Data on competition, data on planning efficiencies, all those things na hindi naman nila hinihingi noon, ano?
In
Clients are
demand.
also demanding data from buildings, di ba? Yung performance data, because they,
Mm-hmm.
as we mentioned earlier, they now realize that if they have data on operations, they can find ways on how to optimize and to be more cost efficient. And then data is something that can be fed upstream and downstream in the building's life cycle. Upstream, when you do feasibility studies and designs, you can make use of data that you've gathered in operations. And data that you use in design can be used for construction and for building maintenance. So it feeds on each other, both upstream and downstream. That's why it's important. And I won't read through this, but the data also benefits us as
Mm-hmm.
people running businesses. Uh, the important thing here is it allows us to create insights,
Mm-hmm.
and insights that are data-driven. Di ba ngayon, napapansin nyo when companies advertise, alam yung sinasabi, 60% of people who we ganyan-ganyan, we
Mm-hmm.
interviewed, prefer this. And so ano ngayon the way they present, let's say, a product or information are mostly data-driven.
Metrics.
Metrics, yeah. Oo.
Metrics.
And data is all an objective yun eh. Di ba? It's a very a more
Mm.
objective way of
Yes.
presenting, and yung uh, creating a reason, or yung presenting an argument.
Exactly.
And we as
Easier to convince.
architects, we have to be in that mindset. Yeah, absolutely.
Easier to convince
Uh,
with numbers.
yeah. Now, number one to us, another big opportunity that we as architects have to understand is this industry of Internet of Things, where we deal with connected devices and connected information, so that we can monitor, get insights, and get real-time information. And this also has something to do with the development of smart buildings and smart cities, where you use IoT, AI, and all the available technologies to run cities, and also to run cities efficiently, to
Mm-hmm.
design and run. So IoT is a sunrise technology, and ito yung yung dimension ng ating practice that we need to also seriously look at.
Mm-hmm. Internet of Things. Yes.
Yeah, IoT, and how we harness information, data, and how we use connectivity so that we can operate, live more efficiently.
Smart cities. Smart cities.
Yep.
Ano na to, sir? Smart cities level
Yeah.
na to.
Yeah. Yeah. But
Building.
you can use this even for if you live in a condo, you can use
Kitchen.
IoT yung applications in your unit, di ba? It doesn't have to be as big as this.
Yep.
So my last few slides, this idea of change is important, that we grasp and we understand our practice has a lot to do with changes and accepting change, especially itong the last 1.5, almost 2 years na it's a period of yung very fast change. Because
Disruption
change
talaga.
leads to innovation, di ba? Yung disruption leads to innovation.
Mhm.
And I probably heard of the Silicon Valley mindset where innovation has to be quick. It has to be also a result of collaboration, vision, ideas that are scalable, and ideas that are interconnected with each other. And a statistic that we got from the World Economic Forum is
Wow.
that as professionals and employees and employers, we have to realize that 50% of all employees will need reskilling by 2025 as technology progresses. And figure part of it is to also realize that what we know pre-pandemic, most of it are already obsolete.
Mm.
And so all of us need to be retooled. And again,
And then,
another World Economic Forum yung finding, the top 10 skills of 2025, we highlighted 3 of the most important things, and many of these are technology related: analytical thinking and innovation, technology use, and monitor and control, and technology design and programming. So, and this cuts across all kinds of businesses, including, of course, our business in the design and building industry. So and 2025 is not too far from now. And I'm sure we all realize the importance of keeping abreast and learning technologies and seeing
yes.
and finding ways on how we apply it in our practices.
Yes.
My last slide is a slide that compares what is the traditional architect and what is the architect of the future. What should they possess? Traditionally, we always thought when we say architect, designer, technical expert, some are contractors, and some project managers. But the architect of the future is more than that. They can, we can still have these 4 things. But other than that, if you look at this table, we need to be data analysts. We need to have a programming capability, and we have to be a lot of other things. So something to think about, as especially the younger generation of architects. Uh, should we stick to being traditional architects, or should we prepare ourselves to be the architects of the future? And there is a big divide between the two. And the big, marami ring skills na kailangan
Mhm.
natin develop.
Mhm.
That's my short presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very informative. Pero sir, may kulang kayo dun sa last slide.
Ano yan?
Yung future na ng architect. Kailangan yung future architects na rin. Vloggers na. Hindi, we're moving
Magaling
into
sa
that.
communication,
Yeah, sir.
Tama.
Vloggers na rin tayo dyan. Yan, very medyo
Grabe,
mainit yung
you're,
usapan sa chat natin. No, sir. So there
you're
are a few
giving a new,
questions.
Ah,
There are a few questions na natin.
I hope na you found it useful.
yes.
Sobra, sir. Medyo,
You're giving a new meaning to knowledge is power.
yeah. Yeah. So, sir, parang throughout your presentation, medyo wala akong masyadong parang narinig na traditional architect skill. Kasi, well, basically, it's disruption nga eh. Parang, I feel that your direction is really, like you said, Silicon Valley eh. Parang more of programmers, data analysts, and then it just so happens that your product is architecture. No? So
Yeah.
the skills could be applied to any profession basically. But of course, us being architects, doon tayo sa
Yeah.
AEC. AEC
You do
industry.
service.
Oo.
Yes.
Saka parang in-extend ni Architect Jojo yung yung value ng architect kasi feeling natin, di ba, from start to finish of the project lang, construction. Pero the bigger pie is in the building operations.
Yes.
Yeah.
And ano rin we as a firm, we believe na architects with what we have now in terms of technology and the fact that we are the owners of building data from start to finish, we can now be more relevant in the longer lifespan of the building, in fact we have now the ability to be involved in the end to end ng
End to
building
end.
yung life. So if we look at things yung our profession in that light, there are opportunities, there are big opportunities na we just have to change the way we look at projects.
Yeah.
And there's a bright future for architects.
Future that doesn't involve AutoCAD, I'm sure.
Yeah, or future that uses information, di ba?
Information.
And that also parang requires us to be good, to be experts in handling information and converting it to other types of businesses.
Yep. So we need to be comfortable in handling data. Kasi iba sa atin, pag nakita ng coding, medyo, uy, hindi ko na alam yan. Diba? So, sir, if it's okay with you, let's go with the chat.
Comment.
Yeah.
The messages. Okay. May nakita ko ba, Burley? Ito si muna, si Ariel Dominic. Si Architect Ariel Dominic Karandang. Question. Hi, Architect Jojo. I would just like to ask. Go ahead, Burley. Ay, naghang si Burley.
How did your client? How did your clients respond to this costs like these modeling and image systems?
Well, initially they did not see the advantage, because when we were starting out, they thought it's just a better version of AutoCAD. But when they saw na we were able to deliver faster, and the technology we use resulted in less confusion on site, better coordination, they saw that the investment in terms of money is nothing compared to the gains. I forgot to mention we did our research in the Philippines. 15% of a project's budget is spent on abortive work. And abortive work na yon, ang malaking part nun is miscoordination, wrong design, things that hindi nakita during documentation that were carried out on site. And some owners were even saying na 15 is a low number. So sabi nila 20% pa nga yan at least eh.
Oh my God.
So, that's if you think about yung 20% na yun, if you're building a 1 billion peso project, 20% of 1 billion is 200 million. Diba? And how much will this owner spend on allowing us to prototype and model that project? It's probably not even 10% of 200 million. So to them, they're ahead no matter what, di ba?
Fraction.
And now they realize na merong ganong gains, and that's why they're open. And now most clients of ours insist that all projects are done in BIM. That we do the A&E integration and we prototype the project. So many of them already crossed that barrier na mahal yan. It's just a cost to the project. They already saw the benefits. And
parang you're already working with like-minded companies.
Saka nakakita na sila ng proof of concept. Kasi that's the important thing, na they saw that it works.
Yep.
Pag bago, people are skeptical, di ba?
Yep.
Kasi hindi pa gagamit yan sa iba. I don't want to be the guinea
The
pig.
guinea pig.
Pero, di ba? Pero once na
Guinea pig.
nakita na and you show them real life numbers and you show results and you show them, okay, ito yung financial benefit or yung business benefit of the investment, they warm up and they understand. And many of them also are very progressive. They also want to try new things. Ayaw lang nila na sila una.
Sila ang sulat. So for everyone, nauna na si Architect JOJO. Ayan na, binutas na niya industry for the BIM technology.
Yeah, hindi siya madali sa umpisa because it's hard to explain the benefits without applying it in a real life project. Yeah, so it takes time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Expensive experiment.
Yeah, well, expensive, yes. It's costly. Pero you can easily recoup the investment once you prove na mayroong benefit.
Tama. So sir, I have a question. Kasi kanina we've been talking about the 10 points. And to be frank, well, all of us are architects and are somehow familiar with some of the benefits of BIM, like yung sa video visualization, yung sa cloud-based storage, pati yung yung twinning. Yung pala ang tawag doon, digital twinning. Kasi di ba, parang in the comments, I thought nga parang we're using LiDAR technology, yung iPads natin, may mga LiDAR na to map out yung mga landscape around. So, out of those 10 points, I think some are, in a way, for me, parang eye candy effect na lang nung BIM. For you, sir, ano ba talaga sa tingin? Well, you've been talking about this, yung life cycle of the building, from inception to demolition, nandun yung technology lahat. So, if you are to distill yung 10 points na yon into just one point, what would it be?
I think ang enabler ng lahat ng bagong technology na to is virtual design and construction, VDC. Kasi there are many applications that you can create out of that out of that concept of virtual design and construction. I think yun ang kailangan natin matutunan at maintindihan, how and also as quickly as possible migrate to that new way of doing things.
Galing ng automation I was shocked, amazed with automation kasi that's the most rigorous, tedious part of our job yung production. Grabe.
Saka that's where we spend our fees, di ba?
Exactly.
Production.
Exactly. A large chunk of our billable is in the production. So the faster we can provide those drawings, 60% bayad na, di ba? So I think
saka yung man hours that we spend doing things I'm sure yung pagpo-produce it's not completed in one round. Checkin mo yan, babaguhin mo, there's coordinate. Yes. So it's a long, highly manual and in my view inefficient process. And that's why when we talked about automation in the office, yun ang inuna namin, the back end, because that's where we burn our fees.
Yes. That's the term. That's where we burn our fees.
Yeah.
So with the increase in time efficiency with automating the production, so there are a lot of meron bang maraming employees na are left to like, what do we do now?
More work.
You'll be surprised kasi I've been often asked that question. So meron bang nawala ng trabaho or yung gumaan ba yung trabaho? And I tell them na when the adding machine was invented, maraming accountants ang natakot, baka mawalan na raw sila ng trabaho.
Yeah.
And ang nangyari doon, because they can work more efficiently, they can do more. And hindi naman nawalan ng trabaho yung mga accountants. In fact, they got busier, di ba? Kasi mas efficient sila. And that's what happened to us then. Because of the efficiency gains, we were able to do more work with the same number of people. Diba? Number one. Second is because we can deliver faster, better quality, clients kept coming back. Yeah, and then so it is that in cycle na ganun na yung
More time.
and yeah. We were never in a situation na nawalan ng trabaho or siguro dumali yung trabaho pero hindi yung nabawasan. We still are yung work long hours pero doing more things, accomplishing more things. Yeah.
Tama. More tools. Parang din, same na ni Sir Jojo, that when the ATMs came out, the bank tellers were afraid that they're gonna lose jobs. Pero hindi
naman nangyari, di ba?
Hindi naman nangyari. ATM pa din, tapos may tellers pa din.
Exactly.
So hindi tayo mawala ng work. Huwag tayo matakot sa AI.
Well,
what's your view pala nun, sir, sa AI? What's your view with AI?
Sorry?
What's your view with AI and what's happening?
I think it will be an important part of our practice kasi AI will allow us to analyze much faster and to create design solutions sa front end. Sa back end, automation is partly AI.
Mm-hmm.
So it will allow us to create and produce much faster.
Augmented skill. Talagang magiging androids na tayo.
Parang we really do have to adapt on our knowledge kasi, di ba, algorithms, they can practically design a building already if we just input what we need. But then,
or at the very least, they can offer options quickly.
Oo.
Diba? Para yung options na if we do manually will take us longer and sometimes physically hindi possible, diba? Pero they can yung the AI and machine learning and technology will allow us to simulate and to create those options so that we as architects mas marami tayong may explore. They're not going to take away work from us. I don't think yun naman objective. It's really a faster way of a faster and more efficient way of delivering.
Tool pa rin at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's tool. It's all, yun naman lagi tool siya.
Yep. It's a tool. Okay. I'll just pull out a question lang sa ating viewers. Ito naman, sir, shift tayo ng konti from our academe member, Sir Noy P. Cruz. It seems our education system is not in sync with what is in store for architecture graduates in terms of technology. Any thoughts? Any comments?
Yes, I agree. We have to prepare our young architects, our future architects, so that they are technologically prepared. We have to offer and train this technology courses or yung give them opportunities to develop these skills. Meron naman pero para sa akin kulang. And
that's your new business na.
Aidea School of Architecture.
I think yung
School of Architecture.
Well, that's interesting. Maybe in the future, pero ang sa akin, it has to be an entry point for all universities na It has to be a base skill that we have to develop sa ating mga estudyante. Ano yung, I don't know how we can help influence them. We as, as UAP, how can we influence? Pero, I agree. Kulang. And we have to relook at our curriculum and the courses the subjects we offer.
Oh, Ched, baka naman. Mga may Ched na nanonood dyan. Yung mga nagbabago ng curriculum for the better, payagan nyo na.
Yeah.
Payagan nyo na. Okay, so ito from our event chair, Adrian Tams, how do you shift mind? I guess this is the age-old question. How do you shift mindsets, sir? Are you inspired by startup firms' mindset? Like, should technology change the agile, lean, etc.? And should architects learn from these, especially the small practitioners? Parang ano pala to? Startup. Ano na to? Entrepreneurial.
I mentioned the biggest challenge in any change is mindset. Now, how did we manage before? Siguro yung in our case, what we did right is we explained to them the vision. Why are we doing this? Diba? And why is it important for us as a business? If we want to grow and if we want longevity and we want to be competitive, this is one of the ways for us to achieve yung objective nila. You need people's buy-in. They need to, in anything naman na bago, you need to win yung hearts and minds ng mga tao, di ba? And na kahit mahirap, they understand. Pag hindi malinaw sa kanila kung bakit, yun ang problema. And that's why we communicated yung objective namin to the people. But mind you, even if you communicate, there are still detractors, there are still skeptics. And that always happens. And doon naman lalabas yung resolve ng company to move forward despite people not believing. Yeah. May ganun din kami. So it's partly willpower, it's partly communicating to them the vision. It's accepting the fact that there will may fallout. Yung, di ba? May casualty dito.
Meron.
Yeah. So that's how it is, I think, I guess. Yeah. And you just have to accept all those realities.
Tama. It's not a easy road, especially if you're trying to invoke change. No, going against.
Wala namang madali, di ba?
Wala, sir. Madaling uminom, pero sa practice, it will change for the better, of course. There will always be skeptics, and the buy-in of the leadership is always key. Parang naalala ko si Steve Jobs, di ba, pagka walang may gusto sa niya, talagang grabe yung result ng tao yan. We'll take another question. Ito, sir. From Jefferson Caronan. Hi, Architect JOJO. Good evening, and thank you for the insightful sharing. May I ask if you have projects in the Philippines that used BIM from design development all the way to property management services, 2D to 5D? Can you share your feedback?
Okay.
Can you share your feedback property?
We for our yung design work, we do BIM all the way from concept all the way to detailing. And if the contractor is BIM capable, we work with them and allow them to access the BIM model. Yung facilities management, currently, we are creating our own facilities management platform. We're co-developing that platform with an Australian partner. The objective of which is to make that platform accessible to even relatively smaller facilities and building management companies. So we are in the process of developing that platform. Siguro in a year's time, we should be able to complete one prototype. We already identified 2 projects na inumpisa na namin i-populate yung BIM model that we created so that it becomes complete and ready for building management applications. So now wala pa, pero there will be one in the near future.
Nice. That's a huge step for your practice, sir, and your advocacy.
Yeah, and we also think na that is yung facilities and building management is a frontier that is least explored. Especially in our country, hindi masyadong particular yung industry natin sa maintenance ng buildings. And we think that that is an improvement na pwede nating i-introduce sa market.
Okay. Medyo naghang ako doon sa answer. Medyo naghang ako, napaisip ko. Okay. Next question. Ito, sir, more of ano naman. I think the utilization of BIM versus scalar size. I think the point of IPP bench here is BIM useful for smaller projects versus larger projects? Kasi parang ang analogy niya is para ka naka-Ferrari, pero ang takbo mo, ang speed limit hanggang 30 lang. So, is there
actually, in my opinion, it applies to any kind of project. It doesn't matter if it's small or large. It's the concept kasi that can apply to any kind of project and any size. Even if we're building a house, it would be good to build it, to build a prototype before we go to construction, di ba? And coordinate everything. Tapos, once it's done, it's also good to update that model so that you have a digital twin of the house, di ba?
Yeah.
And something you can store in the cloud. So anytime you need information, you know where to find it, yeah? And you know that it's the most current information. And if you want to go further and yung use IoT enabled devices in your house,
you can put it there. Oh, wala. Ako ba naghang? Ako yata naghang. Sino naghang? Sayang! Ang ganda nung ang ganda nung, ayan na, IoT. Yan namang isang problema pagka Anyways, ay, Burley, kamusta ka na?
Kunwari na lang naghang din ako.
Oo. Ganun, hindi. Let's wait, if Architect JOJO will reconnect. Pero, for now, let's look at the chat.
Let's start, no? Good first episode.
Oo, sobrang
Ayan, speaking of episode, shameful plug na tayo. Let's thank our sponsors. We have our gold partner, Pacific Paints Boysen. Our bronze partners, Foamy Philippines, Brian Isa Trading, and Construction Inc. Boysen. BITC Roof Tiles, Foamy Philippines, Starken, ITC Corp, and our friends of the festival, Crown Pipes.
Crown Pipes, yes. And while we are waiting for Architect JOJO to reconnect, let's also show Burley. Ano ba meron sa Arktoberfest? Napakaraming speaker.
Currently, we have, how many ba to?
8.
8. Oh my
8.
So we're here October 8 today with Architect JOJO Tolentino, and then October 15 will be with Architect Choi Funk and Adarsh Rai. And Archie also, and is it gonna be with Tampolino? You and Tamps, no?
I think so.
So my panel discussion on October 15. And then our first CPD event at October 16, and then first, yeah, with Chris Villanueva
Libuno.
Libunao
Yes.
and Aldo Solazo. Then
Yes,
I think,
Aldo.
and so okay, I'll just finish this now. Our
Sige,
next
go.
CPD event is on October 23 with Andrea Carla Dorotan, and our
Yes.
last, we're still having this pre-approved by the PRC. Hopefully, we also get them CPD accredited. It's with 8 Inc. on
Yes.
October 30. All right, so see you guys there. Let's go back to the
Yeah.
talk. I think Architect JOJO's back now.
Hi,
Yes.
I'm so sorry. I don't know what happened.
It's okay.
Naputol ako.
Yung
Yes.
mga ano sir, yung Autodesk, AutoCAD nandiyan na. Ah, pinu- pinuputol yung discussion para narinig
Alright.
tayo, nag-Google tayo. Ayan. Yeah.
Hack.
So where were we? Parang comment about yung sa scale, diba? Sa scale of the project versus using BIM. And the architect Jojo was saying na it doesn't really matter the scale. No, na it's nice to have a digital twin, whatever structure it is, for your coordination and actually the operations. On the operation side, sir, I have a question.
Yeah.
How far have you gone with BIM in terms of what do you call this? Uh, Parang computing for like let's say energy consumption. Are you able to somehow have a range of how much the cost of electricity of one building is and find out later on that your numbers are actually close to the actual operations of the building? Is there such a
Uh,
case like that?
Yung as you know in design, electrical engineers, for example, sa electricity, use empirical formula, di ba, to
Mm.
calculate load.
Mm.
So what we're doing, once our FM platform is done, is we will download yung information on consumption from the building's BMS, yung building management system. So there's that
Mhm.
link between the BMS and the platform, and that gives us real-time data on consumption, performance, and that's the time we can measure how Curie compares with actual. And siguro, as I mentioned, that's like a year down the road for us, for the platform that we're creating.
Oh, I think that would be something like that would be a slam dunk for the technology if you can accurately predict yung actual cost in terms of Meralco billings, di ba? So,
Yeah.
probably pag ganun na, like you said, to cease to believe, everybody will be convinced, oh, like, let's go
Just
BIM,
ano
ganun.
rin yung you can also use that info in your design. Kasi for example, di ba, when electrical engineers design, they use a diversity factor
Mhm.
in demand ng electricity. Now,
Tama.
question is, how does that factor compare with real life?
Yes.
Is it too high? And if it's high, how much ang pwede natin bawasan so that yung mas mura yung construction cost ng building. So it's those kind of things, diba, that give you insights, feedback, so that the next time around when we design a new building, we can apply those learnings.
Okay. Okay. Tama. Siguro couple of questions na lang. Medyo nag-overtime na tayo ng konti. Si Sir nasa office pa yata. Sorry,
That's
Sir.
fine.
Okay. Ako, personal question. How is Aidea doing in this pandemic? Are you all shifting to working at home? Or is half of the workforce in the office? Looks like you're in the office right now.
Okay.
And what is the future look like for the workplace of Aidea?
Well, of course, during the lockdown, we people work from home.
Mm.
And so ang ano lang namin swerte is that before the pandemic happened, we a few weeks before, we put the yung the MS Teams platform in place.
MS Teams.
So we were able to communicate as if it's business as usual.
Yep.
Ang problema lang talaga natin sa Pilipinas is our internet speed. The thing
Exactly.
about it is you're handling huge data.
Yeah.
And yung data na yon sometimes are too heavy na it cannot run in a normal residential connection. So that's something that we in our country should address. Pero other than that, we're fortunate because we have a system that works. Even in the worst time, during the worst time that we were, we had to work from home. And it's important dahil as in any business, you need to get business going even in a difficult situation. We have to deliver our project so that we can bill. If we can bill, there's a chance we can collect, di ba? And that's what
Yes.
happened to us. Because of technology, we were able to continue working. I cannot claim that it's as efficient as working from home because it's not. And again, the limitation is the internet. But ano pa rin, we were able to deliver. And we were not we didn't reach a point where we had to let go of people. So we
Oh,
kept
wow.
our numbers. And when yung the pandemic, yung restrictions were lifted, we slowly went to work. And now our attendance is above 80%. The objective is to bring people, as many people to work as possible. Kasi hindi lang naman yung the ability to work. There's also the human side that we need to address. Na people have to collaborate,
Yes.
especially in the in our kind of work sa design. Given a choice, we want to work face to face. So what that meant for us is we needed to invest in upgrading our workspaces and provide safety as much safety measures as possible so that people feel safe working in the office. We every Monday, all of us go through an antigen test. So we invested on that. We bought machines to yung purify yung air. We installed screens. Our HR is very strict when it comes to social distancing. So
Sure.
it's just taking those steps para we can operate as normal as we can.
Nice.
No, future, what we see is that now there's movement in the industry. We are busy. In fact, we're hiring, and this is the time when owners are planning.
Yeah.
Kasi many are yung anticipating na after the third quarter next year, there will be a boom. And a lot of owners will try to catch up for lost time and lost opportunities. And this is the time now to plan so that they are ready to launch when there's an indication that
Tama.
the economy will recover. So I wouldn't say it's to yung pre-pandemic levels, but it is a lot better than last year.
Yes, a lot better. So yun,
Yeah.
narinig nyo guys, it's the time to di lang plan, but also to plant those seeds.
Yes.
In the near
Tsaka
future,
When times are slow, this is it's a time to change, di ba? To test new things, to sharpen the saw, so to speak. So bihirang mangyari to. So we have to
I'm
make
sure.
the most out of the situation.
Lalo sa inyo, sir, laki ng mga na firm. Anyways, Burley, do you have any questions?
No na.
Okay. Ito, sir.
Where can I apply? Group. Group lang.
Ito na pala yung interview, no, Burley?
Ito na pala yung interview.
Interview. Pero, nagbibiro ka ba, Burley? Or, anyways.
No.
Sir, ito na. Last question na. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing your thoughts and insights about technology. to those who follow Architect Jojo Tolentino, I'm sure this information is not new to you, pero there's always something new to pick up when we have this conversation with different people from different backgrounds. So thank you for joining our conversation through the chat. Last question, sir. Talking about disruption and digital transformation. Besides BIM, besides the virtual construction, what disruption or digital transfer or transformation na lang, wag na natin sabihin digital, do you want to see in the architecture industry in the future?
Ako, I want a more connected yung industry where all of us share data, information, and it's not only amongst designers and sub-consultants, but all the stakeholders in the industry. We have to create an ecosystem wherein knowledge and information are available, shared, so that we can do things better and more, better products, more efficient way of doing things, and everyone continues to learn. Yeah, it's open data. We should do that. We should promote, exchange of information. At the moment, I see signs na papunta doon, pero I think we should heighten and we have to move a lot faster.
Disruptively fast.
Yeah. And pag nangyari yun kasi, the delivery process will be different. I believe that the current workflow and delivery process is still 2D based. It's inefficient, it's redundant, and we have to find a way to change it. Yeah.
Agree. And with that statement, we thank you, Architect Jojo Tolentino, for joining us tonight in our first episode for this year's
Thank you.
Oktoberfest.
Thank you too, and it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
It's our honor, sir. It's our
I had fun. I hope you guys did as well.
medyo bitin pa, sir, na lang ako sa oras eh. Kasi
We should
nasa bahay-
have a part 2 if you guys are up for it.
Hoy!
We'll be happy to
Of
we'll be
course.
happy to have a similar session.
Let's do it there, sir, in your virtual facility.
Yeah. Anytime. We were open. We'll be happy to show you our facility.
Yan.
Cool.
Guys, it's an invite for us
Ito na
to
yung
check
start
out.
ng School of Architecture of
Ayan na.
Aidea.
We probably a retirement job for me.
It's not a bad retirement plan, sir. We need more practitioners in the sorry sa mga nanonood na. Pero not so sorry. Si Pearly, na yan, open invite na kayo from Sir Jojo to submit a resume. Anyways, sir, before we let you go, we'd like to present you with this virtual certificate. Pero syempre, everyone involved, nagpadala tayo ng konting boost kay Architect Jojo.
And thank you.
Iniinom niya or what. Pero ito muna, Verly.
Okay, Arktoberfest presented to Architect Abelardo JOJO Tolentino Jr. as guest speaker on Arktoberfest 2021 Disruption and Digital Transformation via Zoom, given this 8th of October 2021. Signed by our chapter president, Architect Bonstara Remo, and me, chapter secretary, Beverly Biloxi.
Woohoo!
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, thank you very much.
And congratulations again for organizing this event. More power to the chapter.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
And I hope to see everyone in another occasion and another event.
We will definitely do that, sir. Invite you. All right.
Salamat. Have a good weekend.
Ingat po.
Thank
Have a
you.
good weekend.
Thank you, sir. Okay. Papasok tong mga to. Hindi po pwede. Papasok tong mga to. Ayan. Nakamute ka,
Chair!
Tamps.
Ay, nakamute ka.
Nagulat ako, ano ba yan? Ba't yung pinasok? Ayan, umalis na si uncle mo at saka si Ate Gigi.
Oh,
Well, kay Ate Gigi, thank you very much. Also, thank you very much pa
Thank
kay
you.
Sir Nick Ramos. Ayan.
Sir Nick!
Sir Nick, thank you very much if you are still online. Ayan, ay, nagulat din daw si Angela Cardenas na nasa screen na ako.
Oh,
So,
bakit
what's up?
naman? Hindi ba sila sanay na
Kasi
makita
kanina
ka?
niyo pa hinahanap. Kanina niyo pa
Ah!
hinahanap.
Okay, sorry.
Sabi ko next week kayo magsasawa sa akin.
sorry. Anyways,
Friday and Saturday, I'll be hosting the
ayan.
Arktoberfest. Yes.
Ano yun, Tam? So yun, Friday and Saturday, you will be
Friday
hosting
and
who?
Saturday pa?
I think I'll be hosting with Press and you because it is a fireside chat. We'll be talking about next week with Architect Choi and of course our guest from Nepal. Guys, we are now in Nepal.
Nepal.
Mr. Adar Rai will be talking about the built environment, startups, and the likes. Ganyan. And of course, on Saturday, we will be talking about another session for about smart cities and of course, digital construction pa rin and data. Smart cities by my mentor, Chris Libunao, and of course, data by Aldo Solazo, all the way from USA and Italy. Yun, respectively, ganyan.
International event pala tong Arktoberfest na.
Yes, girl, international event to.
Architecture Technology Festival.
Yeah.
And on October 23, we'll be discussing climate change and architecture. I'll be hosting with our treasurer Eloise.
Yes,
And
our homegrown expert on sustainability, architect AK Dorotan. Yan.
Yeah.
And of course, hinihintay na lang po natin ang tawag dito. Para akong nasa radio station. Hinihintay na lang po natin ang CPD points for the last day of Oktoberfest, which we'll have on deck our guests from 8 Inc. Filipino architect Jenry Bonifacio Umali, who is a director in their Singapore office, and of course the CEO himself of 8 Inc., Tim Kobe, who will be talking about experiential design. Ayan.
If you guys didn't know, 8 Inc. is the designer of the famous Apple Store.
Yes.
And also the Globe Store in the Globe Store in
Yeah.
Oh.
Saan yun
Gen
sa
2? BGC.
Gen
3.
Sa BGC, saka sa SM Annex. I think those were the first few stores na nauna sa design nila. So be sure to catch that. Parang sa disruptors in the industry, di ba? Binago nila yung experience ng ng mga transactions. Di ba? May angle pa dapat yung ganyan. Tapos, di ba parang grabe, ibang klase. sobrang exage. Pero yun, grabe.
What a lineup.
Medyo durog na, sunog na yung utak ko.
mag-shoutout muna tayo ng mga Hello
sige.
to our treasurer, Architect Eloise Aniel Roque. Yan. Alam mo, mag-host ka, girl. Charay. Ayan. Sino pa ba? Of course, thank you kay Sir Ariel Karandang. Kay Sir Jerds. Ayan. May kino-comment siya about BIM and CAD.
Can easily plagiarize if you're BIM
Kay Sir Jefferson Caronan.
You're welcome.
Thank you, ha? Thank you.
You're welcome. Ay, hindi pala ako. Sorry.
Of course, kay Sir Chris Aquino, thank you very much, sir, for see you next week. Ayun. And of course, yung Baste na naka-tech ngayon. Pareho palang long hair yung tech natin, no? Tapos ako nagpagupit na. Tingnan mo silang dalawa sa backstage.
Congrats din. Kayo.
Congratulations and thank you, Matthew, and thank you, Baste. And of course, kay Krishna, who made an awesome pub mats for Arktoberfest.
Yes.
So ano,
Ayun.
close na natin.
Oo, so
Ay, let's thank
thank
our
you.
sponsors ulit.
Thank you.
sige.
Let's take your sponsors ulit. Oh.
Ikaw naman, Arch.
All right. Oktoberfest 2021 would like to thank our sponsors, our event, ano ba tawag dyan? Supporters. Of course, number one, Boysen, the number one paint. Our friends from BITC Roof Tiles, our friends from Foamy Philippines, Starken AECs, and ITC Corp.
Of
Repeat
course, di
natin yan.
mawawala sa
Repeat
ITC
supporter
Corp.
natin yan. Repeat supporter natin yan. And Crown Pipes. Shout out to Crown Pipes. So yun. It was a very mind-blowing first episode. Again,
Yeah.
Tamps, it's
Ang dami kagad, ang dami nangyari.
Oo, medyo nahiya ako sa oras. Parang sarap pang sarap pang i-drag yung conversation.
May part 2 naman daw eh. I-message lang natin sila. May part 2 naman daw.
Naka-record to, di ba?
Naka-record to.
Ayan, so
Naka-record to.
Natin yung clip. Sabi niyo po.
sir. Di ba? Ito yung sabi niyo information sharing di ba? Ito information we're sharing with you. Pero yun, thank you everyone for joining us tonight on this Friday night. We hope to see you again next Friday with our two guests, and they'll be sharing their thoughts on urban issues. So join the conversation, share our links, like, comment, and subscribe, and shoutouts lang, di ba? Mag-comment
Of course,
si Mr.
like nyo na rin yung Arktoberfest na page.
Yan, si Mr. ARMGX, pahinging beer. Kung
Si Mark pala yan, si Mark.
Mark.
Sino Mark?
Yung nag-deliver ng pagkain natin.
Ay! Uy, shoutout natin si Mark. Mark, good job.
Pahinging beer, wala, hindi ka ba na-deliver dyan?
Ayun.
Okay.
Sa akin, tatlo yung dumating
Wow.
Sabi ni Michelle to. Hindi, binalik natin. Mali yung Anyways. Ayun, guys. So, that's it. Everyone, to my co-host, Burley. Ganda-ganda ng co-host ko. Grabe. Thank you very much. To our event chair, Adrian Tampolino. Thank you very much. And this has been your host, RG Tolentino. See you next Friday.
Bye.